fighters faced with that adversity in the first 90 seconds would not gather themselves or have the wherewithal to actually steady themselves and be what most people aren't today, which is a pro.
Max DeLuca has it 117-109 for Pervodnikov. Tom Schreck scores it 114-112 for Algieri. Don Trella scores it. Same score, 114-112 to the winner by split decision. And no!
That showed something about Algieri that no one had ever seen before. No one saw Chris Algieri go through that type of adversity and come through in the way he did. Look, we can all have disagreements on whether he won the fight or not, but no one can question the mettle it took and the interior fortitude that it took to go out there and battle through that eye injury and finish that fight.
Okay, so now you've seen Great Beast, the current Rocky, and it's a pleasure for me to tell you, Chris, that you're about to meet the original Rocky. So if you'll step down here, the original Rocky, Sly Stallone.
Later.
The usual boxing photo. Here you go. Boom. Oh, boom, boom. Anyway, thank you very much. It's great to be here because it's amazing when art imitates life and then life now imitates art. And somewhere in between, you have Chris. He's going to step up and really provide an extraordinary challenge and interesting and an uplifting boxing, which creates a Cinderella story. And it's always great to say, well, can Rocky really happen in reality? I guess you're about to see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. I think we have the birth of a new star. Anyway, congratulations, buddy. Keep punching.
Sly, thank you very much. We'll see you in Macau. Now this card is loaded, as I said, with surprises. Where else, on which other card, would you see two young fighters who won gold twice in the same Olympiads? Zou Shiming, Vasiliy
Put the box under my elbow,
each won gold in Beijing and each won gold in London. Vasiliy Lomachenko, as an amateur, was considered by many to be the greatest amateur fighter that ever lived. He lost one fight out of almost 400 fights in the amateurs, and he avenged that loss, which was a controversial loss later on. He was unbeatable in the amateurs. As a professional, he came to our office and he said, look, I want to fight for the world title in my first professional fight. Well, you can't do that. We gave him a first fight, and then he fought a fighter, Orlando Salido, who came in overweight, who taught him what professional boxing was all about, a lot of dirty tricks, which the referee didn't stop. And so he lost a controversial close decision to Salido, but picked himself up, fought Gary Russell for the title in his third professional fight, won that fight, going away, and here he is defending his WBO title against the mandatory contender from Thailand, a gentleman who has lost only 1 out of 52 fights, and that to Chris John, the long-term ex-featherweight champion. Vasiliy Lomachenko wants to fight only the best because he believes, and many believe with him, he is the best. So it's a pleasure to bring up to the microphone the featherweight champion of the world, the great Vasiliy Lomachenko.
Всем добрый день. Хотел бы сказать огромное спасибо Богу и компании Top Rank за то, что постоянно организовывает мне бои на таких ярких шоу, как предстоящее 22 ноября.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to say thank you to God and the Top Rank for giving the opportunity to be part of the great fights and to the upcoming show in China.
Огромное спасибо хотел бы сказать своей команде, тренеру, отцу, второму тренеру Сесилию по физподготовке, моему, наверное, другу и психологу Андрею Борисовичу. И большое спасибо сказать Роберту Гарсии и его залу за то, что создали все условия для подготовки к этому бою. Спасибо большое.
I would like to say thank you to my team, first of all, to my father and my coach, to Cecilio, my conditioning coach, for being there, for my teammate psychologist, Andrei Borisov, and of course to Robert Garcia for giving the opportunity to train at their gym and be ready for this fight.
Увидимся 22-го.
I will see you on the 22nd.
Our other two-time gold medalist is in the flyweight division. He is the reason why we've had all this activity in Macau and in mainland China. Because many of you know, boxing was banned in China for many, many years under Mao Zedong. It has relatively recently been allowed. And China was able to develop a young man who won gold in Beijing and then won gold again in London. And suddenly, Chinese people, 1,300,000,000, were aware of the sport of boxing because a fellow countryman had so distinguished himself in the sport. And so when we were contacted by the Venetian Macau as to whether we would like to put on a professional boxing show in China, we had recently received an inquiry from Zou Shiming's agent whether we would be willing to sign Zou Shiming, and one thing led to another, and he has been the man, the engine that has really moved boxing back to the mainstream in China. Boxing shows get incredible ratings in China when Zou Shiming fights. He enabled us to do 5 shows last year, Manny Pacquiao. Now we're in Shanghai, and it's all because of Zou Shiming, one of the great idols in China. Just as Yao Ming, who is so much bigger obviously, so Zou Shiming has led the way to popularize the sport of boxing in China. On November 22nd, he fights an undefeated Thai fighter in a title elimination match. And if he is successful on November 22nd, on February 14th, he will fight in Macau again for the World Championship. That's a great accomplishment, and it's such a major accomplishment that even the President of China is really paying attention and is one of Shiming's biggest fans. So please welcome one of the men who history will know has opened up China to the sport of boxing, Zou Shiming.
Sorry， 我得用中文跟大家交流。Sorry, I have to talk in Chinese. 很高兴Bob， 然后很荣幸在他的团队里面，有每一场比赛都这么的华丽的比赛的场面，然后这一次，然后有更多的有名的选手也参与在其中。
So I want to sincerely thank you everyone for being here, and especially thanks for Top Rank and Mr. Bob Aram for holding such a spectacular events like the previous 5 times in Macau. Thank you all.
我最近然后训练得非常辛苦，也慢慢的要向我的世界第1名去冲击，所以说我已经做好准备，也很高兴欢迎各位媒体来到中国，让我们拳击这个项目让世界更多认识，特别是在中国，现在已经有更多的，包括我们的很多国家的领导也都在慢慢关注，也希望拳击在我们亚洲在中国的市场上面有更多的提高。
Yeah, I've been training really hard for the past 2 months, and now I think I'm well prepared for the fight on 22nd. And you know, China has drawn more and more attention to boxing, especially like just Bob said. The President Xi Jinping draws especially attention to the boxing sports. So I hope everyone can be there. I'll see you on 22nd.
Thank you. Welcome to China.
Now you can see why we're so proud of boxing, because it's not a sport that is limited to one country. It is a worldwide sport with many, many languages spoken, with fighters, young men coming from all over the world. And before we now turn to Chris, I would like to have Shiming and Vasiliy come up and take a picture, because it's historic. 2 men, each have won gold medals in 2 successive Olympics, and I'd like them to take a picture together. Zou Shiming, Vasiliy Lomachenko.
Over here, Zou.
I think many of you here are now familiar with Chris Algieri's story. Going into the Provodnikov fight, only the hardcore boxing fan had heard of him, if that. And those people who watched that fight, and it was a tremendous audience, were flabbergasted, as you can see by Jim Lampley's call, of the guts and courage that one man demonstrated that night in the ring. Chris has been a delight to promote, because he has so many attributes that we don't see in boxing. He's educated, college graduate, master's degree, will go on to be a medical doctor. He understands the technical nature of the sport of boxing. We know he has all the guts in the world, and we know how much he has done to help this sport by bringing so much attention to himself and his fight against Manny Pacquiao. Because I don't remember since the Ali days having a story about a fight, any fight, in the New Yorker magazine, and to have the kind of coverage that we're seeing in Newsday and other papers in the New York metropolitan area writers from every one of those papers will be in Macau covering this event. So people now are intrigued by this fight. I think it will be a great, great fight. I'd like to bring to the microphone the trainer of Chris Algieri, or one of his trainers, Tim Lane, to say a couple of words, and then we'll hear from Chris, and then everybody who's here will be available to do one-on-one interviews. So please welcome the trainer, Tim Lane. Tim?
Hello everyone, welcome to the Chris Algieri Show. We are ready. Chris has trained great. The training camp is going great. The Venetian and the Palazzo have been wonderful to us. And when I tell you guys, I was here, I think we were here for the press tour, and I told everyone how well Chris was and how his thoughts were. Well, things are better than that. He's getting used to the environment. He's in shape. I'm going through sparring partners. I'm on sparring partner number 6 now. So we keep on bringing them in and rotating them. We had to send some people home. The guy's in shape and he's ready to go. November 22nd, he's going to shock quite a bit of people. But myself, along with Kevin Rooney and our team from back in New York, we already know what's going down, and we know we're bringing that belt back to New York. All right, we'll see you soon. Guys, I'd like to also, a new member of our team, Kevin Rooney, if I could bring Kevin up, say a couple words, and he'll introduce Chris. All right, Kevin has been a tremendous help. Myself, I'm the trainer, but Kevin manages all our business for Team Algieri. So this is Kevin Rooney.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Bob. Everyone here. You know, first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone who's involved with this promotion. Our promoter, Star Boxing, Banner Promotions, you know, Sands. Top Rank is really taking Chris on as like one of their own. We know that they promote Pacquiao, but you know, they've been like family to us, and you know, they couldn't be more accommodating to Chris. And you know, it's just a pleasure, you know, to work with them and work through this. You know, this was a great thing for Chris to be here today. You know, he thrives off this type of stuff. You know, he uses this in his training, and you know, for him to be able to beat Sly, you know, that's something special. And you know, we're just happy to be here. You know, the fight's about 2.5 weeks away, so this was a nice little break in his regimen. You know, to get him out here to be here, interact with everybody. You know, it's really good for him. You know, Bob touched on it when they first announced this fight. I think there was some expectations of the type of coverage that it would get with Chris's story and his background, but you know, there's no question that this has exceeded everything. You know, a different day, there's a different major publication coming out with a story on Chris, and it's just, you know, it's been extraordinary. It's a testament to the type of fighter that Chris is, you know, but also the type of person he is. You know, he's an extraordinary individual, remarkable athlete and person. The relationship he has with Tim, you know, is something you don't always see in boxing. It's not just fighter and trainer. It's you know, they have a real brotherhood, and it's extraordinary to see them work together, be involved with them in the gym. You know, to come up with their game plan, but also execute it in perfect fashion. And you know, that's what we're expecting on November 22nd. You know, I said after Chris beat Provodnikov on the 14th, you know, that there was a new force and a new champion in the 140-pound division. But we as a team truly feel that after November 22nd against Manny Pacquiao in Macau, China, there will be a new superstar in the sport of boxing. At this time, I'd like to call up to say a few words our undefeated champion, Chris Algieri.
Start rolling. Right at the podium. See how I have the frame?
Well, thank you, Kevin. Again, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Top Rank. Thank you all for being here today. You know, it's great to, as Kevin said, break camp a little bit and come out here and see everybody out here, see some familiar faces that I haven't seen.